The suitcase was heavier than it should have been when she grabbed the handle. Her knuckles turned white, and she almost stumbled back. That brief, split second of surprise, her carefully maintained facade cracking, was worth every second I'd spent preparing for this weekend. "Wow, did you pack rocks in here?" she said, forcing a laugh, her eyes quickly darting to me for a reaction. I shrugged, keeping my expression unreadable. "You've got everything you need in there," I replied flatly. "It's a special trip, after all." She hesitated, then flashed that practiced, fake smile she'd been using on me for months. "You're so thoughtful," she said, leaning in to kiss me on the cheek. Her lips felt cold, distant. I watched as she wheeled the suitcase out the door, the small wheels squeaking under the weight. I waited until the car had pulled out of the driveway and disappeared down the street before allowing myself to exhale. It was showtime. Her name was Amanda. We'd been married for 8 years, together for 10. For most of that time, I would have called us happy, comfortable. We had routines, inside jokes, shared dreams, or at least, I thought we did. That illusion shattered 3 months ago when I found the first text message. She'd left her phone on the kitchen counter while she showered upstairs. I wasn't snooping, at least, not on purpose, but when the screen lit up, I saw the message preview. "Can't wait to see you this weekend. Miss you like crazy, heart." It was signed, Brent. Brent. I didn't know Brent. No one at her office. No friends named Brent. My heart dropped to my stomach, but I didn't grab the phone then. Not yet. I'd learned the hard way that rushing in without proof gets you nowhere. I needed solid evidence. And evidence, I found. The weeks that followed were a masterclass in deception, mine, not hers. While she thought I was oblivious, I was meticulously piecing together the web she and Brent had spun. I installed a keylogger on her laptop when she'd leave it unattended. I followed her, keeping a safe distance, as she worked late at some upscale hotel downtown. And the kicker, I placed a GPS tracker in her car. What I discovered sickened me. Every lie. Every excuse. Every "I love you" whispered as she walked out the door to meet him. It was like a knife twisted deeper into my chest. But I didn't confront her, not yet. She thought she was the one in control, the one pulling the strings. What she didn't realize was that she was the puppet. I was the one pulling the strings. So, when she announced her weekend getaway with the girls, I almost laughed. She was so transparent now that I knew what to look for: fabricated stories, plans that didn't add up, friends mysteriously unavailable, and the lingering scent of cologne on her blouse the last time she came home late, that wasn't mine. "You deserve some time to unwind," I told her when she brought it up. "I've got projects around the house to keep me busy." She beamed. "You're the best." The audacity. I played my part, the oblivious husband, helping her pack, while I packed my own suitcase, not with clothes, but with evidence that would shatter her world. Brent lived in a fancy condo across town. I'd scoped the place more times than I could count, studying his schedule. A high-level executive, polished, charming, a man who probably never thought twice about the husband of the woman he was sleeping with. When I arrived at his place, I parked down the street and waited. Amanda's car was already there, crookedly parked in her rush to get inside. I waited another hour, letting them settle in before walking up to the building. I'd rehearsed this moment 1,000 times, but nothing prepared me for the real thing. My heart pounded, adrenaline coursing through my veins. I knocked, firm, authoritative. The door swung open, and there he was, Brent, late 30s, dark hair, expensive watch glinting in the light. His smile faltered when he saw me. "Can I help you?" he asked, his voice cautious. "Oh, I think you can," I said, stepping forward. His hand twitched, like he was debating whether to shut the door, but I didn't give him the chance. My shoulder hit the door and I was inside. "Hey, you can't." "Shut up," I snapped, my voice as sharp as a blade. "You and I need to have a little chat." Amanda appeared then, stepping into the hallway. Her face drained of color when she saw me. She clutched her robe like it was a shield. "Mark, what are you doing here?" she gasped. I ignored her, focusing on Brent. "You know who I am, don't you?" He swallowed hard. I think you should leave." I laughed, cold and bitter. "Oh, I'll leave. But not before we have a conversation." I reached into my bag and pulled out the first stack of photos, printed screenshots of their texts, emails, hotel receipts. I scattered them on the coffee table like confetti. Brent's eyes widened, darting between the photos, Amanda, and then back to me. "You thought you were clever, didn't you?" I said, my voice rising. "Sneaking around, thinking you wouldn't get caught. Did you think I was stupid?" "Mark, please," Amanda's voice trembled. "Can we talk about this privately?" "Privately?" I turned on her, my anger boiling over. "You didn't seem too concerned about privacy when you were screwing him behind my back." She flinched, tears welling in her eyes, but I didn't care, not anymore. "You don't get to cry, Amanda," I said, my voice cold. "You made your choices. Now you'll face the consequences." I turned back to Brent, who looked like he might sink into the floor. "How does it feel, Brent? Knowing you've been caught? That your little game is over?" He stammered, "Look, man, I didn't mean for any of this to happen." "Save it," I snapped. "I'm not interested in your excuses. But your wife might be." His face went white. "What?" "Oh yeah. I found her contact info. Lovely woman. I'm sure she'll appreciate knowing what her husband's been up to." "Mark, please," Amanda's voice broke, desperate. "Don't do this." I turned to her, my gaze hard as steel. "You should have thought about that before." I grabbed my bag and headed for the door. Before leaving, I turned back to Brent one last time. "If you ever come near my wife again, I'll make sure everyone in your professional circle knows exactly what kind of man you are." I left them standing there, the silence deafening behind me. The fallout was swift and brutal. The next day, I mailed the evidence to Brent's wife, along with a note apologizing for the pain it would cause her. She filed for divorce within the week. Word spread quickly through his company, and he was quietly asked to resign. As for Amanda, she begged for forgiveness, tried to explain her actions, but I wasn't interested. The divorce papers were already in motion. I made sure she left with nothing but the clothes on her back. It wasn't easy. None of it was. But as I stood in my now empty house, the weight of betrayal finally lifting, I realized something. I'd lost a wife, yes, but I'd gained something far more valuable. Freedom. And the satisfaction of knowing that justice had been served.